What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Cool Colas here, and you are now tuning into a new video on my channel. But before I get on to the topic, I would love for you to do a few things. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications for whenever I come out with new content on this channel. And then when you're finished, please leave me a comment below. That way I can get back to whatever it is that you have to say to me. For this video, I want to talk about a movie I just watched. Last week, I saw the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. And I wanted to give a quick review on my thoughts of this movie and some other things kind of around it, because I haven't really given a lot of movie reviews on this channel, but I wanted to start it up. So I went to go see this movie I think it was Saturday morning, as a matter of fact, which was a little bit later because a lot of people have been watching this movie, I think maybe a few weeks back and whatnot. So, like I said, I'm late to the party, but I still got to see it, which is cool. This movie was definitely, consistent, in my opinion, with a lot of the Deadpool movies that I've seen. So, for those of you all who have never seen a Deadpool movie, there's a certain aesthetic to it. I mean, there you got Ryan Reynolds, who plays Deadpool. Wade Wilson is his name. And he essentially is embodying this character who is somewhat of a mercenary that has a very flamboyant personality. And he also can regenerate when he is basically impaled, or somebody puts a hole in him or a bunch of holes in him and that type of thing, so he can regenerate his skin. I think that he's a pretty interesting character. And then in this movie, what they were trying to do is do a follow-up. So this was like the third movie out of the Deadpool series that they've done so far for Sony. And they've all been consistently good, and the same thing was true for this one. As a matter of fact, I would say that this one probably was the best one in the series. So for those of you all who have not seen the movie or plan to see the movie soon, I would not watch this because I am going to be spoiling some things that happen in the movie. I'm not going to give a full-blown review, but I am going to talk about a lot of different things that I noticed. When it comes to this movie, the first thing that I saw was that, and this is something, again, that's very consistent throughout the movies, is that the Deadpool character was very big on breaking the fourth wall. So in other words, for those of you all who do not know this term, this means that he was essentially talking about realistic aspects that are related to, the creation of a movie or things that are in real life, right? So it's almost as if you're a character that's talking about real elements, like real things, or like, you're talking about the creators who are as if you as a character know that you are a character, not as if like you're watching a motion picture and this is a person perceiving that their life is real life. It's almost as if Deadpool understands that he is a created character, and he also goes into jumping into what has been done in the past as far as creating his character and things like that, and he makes it very humorous. So it's a very humorous type of film, as the other ones have been. And it definitely was enjoyable. The action was really good in this movie. I found myself laughing a bunch of times. It feels also too like, unlike some Marvel movies, it feels like they tried to add the sequence of jokes and playfulness in every single movie that they have, and sometimes it doesn't fit, and sometimes it falls flat. But with the Deadpool movies, it just totally fits for it to be comical while also having elements of that still superhero-esque type of feel, which I really like. Now, with this movie, it was a lot of action, and it's almost like every time the characters were fighting, it almost felt like it never was going to be fatal because everybody could regenerate. Because, again, you had Deadpool in there. You had Wolverine in there, and he can regenerate as well, too. So they up in there, they slicing each other up and all this other stuff, and they're coming back to life, like they're stabbing each other in the chest and the heart and the back, all types of stuff, because there were times where Deadpool and Wolverine actually fought each other as well too, because they were angry based off of things that happened in the plot. So this movie basically starts off though with Deadpool almost telling the story from the perspective of knowing that it went to a certain place, and he's like retelling how he got to that point of where the movie started off at. Now, in this movie, basically, he has this party that's thrown for him, right? And he gets pulled out by the TVA. Now, the one thing I will say about the TVA is that although this was cool and I like the fact that they differentiated it, it also kind of made me feel like, okay, I feel like they're leaning on this whole TVA thing quite a bit, because to me, they leaned on the whole TVA thing with the whole Loki series and whatnot. Regardless, I felt like they're kind of leaning on that quite a bit. It's okay though, because I think that they did a good job with it. And they lean on the TVA, in my opinion, too much, because it's a good way to show that there are different characters from different universes that exist. So it's like the same character that you may know that may exist in different universes, and there may be different forms of them. And that's what they kind of did with Wolverine, because they made it clear that Deadpool's world was going to disappear. And the reason why was because of the death of Logan, who is Wolverine. So he essentially was trying to get Wolverine from a different universe to try to help his world from not crumbling. And it landed him and this Wolverine that he got from a different world into these different crazy situations. Like one specific crazy situation they landed in was that they were put into this this space, like this land where a lot of other rebellious superhero characters or supervillain characters were basically sent. And this is where they actually find the villain, whose name is Cassandra Nova. And she's essentially supposed to be like the sister of Charles Xavier. And she was a total badass. I mean, like, she was smooth. You know, she had that calm, kind of like sinister spirit. You know, her abilities were incredible. I mean, she was able to basically turn somebody into a pile of damn meat and fuck up all their bones and all types of stuff just by doing using psionic powers and shit. So she was like really cool. And they actually had a lot of cameos. The one cameo that I loved throughout this was that they showed Blade. They showed the Wesley Snipes original Blade, which I loved. That was definitely dope. They also showed other characters too, because they showed Elektra, they showed Gambit, you know what I mean? They showed a lot of different people, because essentially what they wanted to do was show you that there were a lot of characters that rebelled from these different universes, these different superhero characters that we know of were anti-hero characters, and they ended up all in the same place because they rebelled in some way. And you also see, you know, like in this world too, there were like hundreds of Deadpools as well too. So they were showing all of this, and the Deadpool character basically was trying to save his world and get back to it. So throughout this, they showed you a lot when it pertained to Deadpool's story and him wanting to save all of his friends and family and the people who actually cared about him. And then you had Logan, who almost, or Wolverine, who was supposed to be the worst Wolverine that existed, and him having somewhat of a redemption story, because he had this thing where he basically was supposed to be in this fight with the X-Men, and they all died, and he was very frustrated by the fact that they had died and he wasn't there to help them. And he basically started going on a rampage, and he started just killing motherfuckers, whether they were good, whether they were bad. So it's like there was like this redemption thing where he was trying to redeem himself to a certain extent. So we saw their two stories basically. So it was a way for you to see you know, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but at the same time see him play a different version of this character as well too, which also was very cool. And we also saw the dramatic effects too of you know, although it was very jokey, there were serious elements as well too, where we got to see how the Deadpool character in this universe had a desire to want to work with Wolverine, like do an actual team up. And it's actually interesting how they show this element, because I remember seeing in some of the cartoons they were actually adversaries to a certain extent. You know, I saw a cartoon where Deadpool actually was hunting Wolverine. So it's funny how, like, in this version you see that Deadpool strongly wants to have a alliance with some form of Wolverine, and he got that to a certain extent. So if anything, they actually became friends, you know, so that was pretty interesting. And the plot to me was pretty consistent. Almost like they had two villains. They had like the Cassandra Nova character, but then they also had old dude in the TVA who gone rogue, and he was trying to do his own thing, and he was trying to eliminate some universes faster and all this other stuff. So they also had that as well too. The cinematics, like I said, were very good. The cameos were even better. You know, overall, this was just a great movie. You know, like I said, it was the best of the trilogy. I definitely enjoyed the humor. I definitely enjoyed the jokes. I didn't find myself feeling like, hey, this is too much, because I knew what I was getting while I went into a Deadpool movie. So if I had to give this movie a rating, I probably would give it somewhere around maybe an 8.5. Reason why I say 8.5 is because there wasn't very much wrong with this movie. The only thing is that I felt like, once again, they leaned on the whole TVA thing too much, because they've already done that with Loki. And to me, it's almost as if that's a good crutch to use whenever you can't really explain how a character from the multiverse, from a different part of the multiverse, had existed. So it's a way to kind of spoof that in to try to make the story flow. So one could argue that that's a little bit lazy, but other than that, I mean, that's me nitpicking at this point. So yeah, I wouldn't even say 8.5 actually. I'm gonna up my rating. I'll probably give it maybe like an 8.8, because other than the whole TVA thing, I didn't really see too much wrong with it. I like the villain, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool was great as usual. Hugh Jackman as Logan or Wolverine was also cool, and I also like the versatility and the different type of Wolverine. So overall, I really enjoyed this, and I think that you will too when you get a chance to actually see it. Other than that, y'all, I just wanted to give you that quick review. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all go and check this movie out while it's still in movie theater, so you don't have to buy it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever they have at this point. Other than that, I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all's day, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.